Hello, today we're going to discuss standardized field sobriety tests. What are those? Those are the tests that are conducted during a DUI investigation that are actually standardized across the nation in terms of how they should be instructed, how they should be conducted, and what you're measuring for as indicators of being under the influence of alcohol or drugs. You'll hear sometimes that some of the tests that I'm going to go over are not the tests that are conducted. Well, that is something that an attorney would want to kind of address and look into if the officer is using tests that aren't part of the standardized set of tests and don't have the standardized clues to determine performance and an indication of influence or being under the influence. So the first one I'm going to go over is the horizontal gaze nystagmus test. This is a test that you guys have probably seen on TV where the officer is measuring whether or not there's like this involuntary jerking of the eye by having the detainee, the person who's being investigated, follow a stimulus with their eyes without moving their head. So essentially the instructions that they give are to stand with your feet together, your hands at your sides, keep your head still, and then look at a stimulus and follow the movement with your eyes while still keeping your head still. And during this test, there are three distinct clues that the officer is looking for. They're looking for lack of smooth pursuit. They're looking for whether or not there's distinct and sustained nystagmus, and they're looking for whether or not there's onset of nystagmus prior to 45 degrees. Okay, so first, what is lack of smooth pursuit? Essentially, the officer will position the stimulus approximately 12 to 15 inches in front of the subject's nose and slightly above eye level, and then they start with the left eye and they slowly move the stimulus over to the right side while they're looking at the subject's eye track the stimulus. Then they go from the right side back to the left side across the subject's nose, and then back to the right and left again. So they're supposed to make at least 2 complete passes, and they're observing the signs for nystagmus as it's moving from side to side. And then the other clue that I mentioned is distinct and sustained nystagmus and it's at maximum deviation. So what do those terms mean? It means basically like when a stimulus is placed kind of like to the side where there's no white showing in the corner of the eye, what's happening to the eye? Is it bouncing or doing this involuntary jerking as it's tracking that stimulus? So basically the officer takes that same stimulus, moves it to the right until the subject's left eye reaches maximum deviation, and then they're supposed to verify that no white is showing in the corner of the eye. They hold the stimulus steady for a minimum of 4 seconds, and then they watch to see whether or not there is distinct and sustained nystagmus. Then they repeat it for the opposite eye, so the opposite direction, and then they do it twice. So at least check both eyes 2 times looking for that clue. So the final clue is the onset of nystagmus prior to 45 degrees, right? The officer is now going to take that same stimulus, position it about 12 to 15 inches in front of the subject's nose, again, slightly above eye level, and they're going to begin to make a slow pass starting in front of the left eye. As they are moving, if they see nystagmus present in the eye, this time they stop, and then they determine whether or not that nystagmus continues, and they're also verifying whether or not there is white showing in the eye so that they're able to measure how far, like what degree, what angle this nystagmus presented itself. And they're kind of taking that and making this determination of whether or not onset happened prior to 45 degrees. They're going to do it in the other eye the same method, and then they're going to repeat it 2 times. From there, they are determining, is that onset prior to 45 degrees present in the left eye? Is it present in the right eye? 2 different clues. The total clues that I mentioned, there's 3 distinct clues, but it's in each eye. And so if there are 4 clues present out of the 6 total, then you will essentially fail this test. And just like the other tests, this is not something that they tell you. They give you instructions. You're supposed to follow the instructions, but the officers do not inform you of what they are looking for. We are continuing this series with a presentation of the other standardized tests. Click through for another video in our YouTube channel about the walk and turn test and the one-leg stand. If you have been arrested for a DUI, you're facing DUI charges, please contact our office. We are here to help. We're happy to help, and hopefully we can assist you with this situation. The number is down below, and you can always reach us at our website as well, www.thenieveslawfirm.com. Thank you.